This is a place where you show up, where you're active, where you're engaged in life, where you go out and you hike and you do activities and you explore and you discover and you meet people.
From the fantastical Avatar franchise to the all-time great Titanic, James Cameron is no stranger to producing some cinematic masterpieces. Here's everything you need to know about his next project, The Last Train from Hiroshima.
You know what the future of cinema was? I couldn't have told you accurately, but I would have been very pessimistic because it was the first true existential challenge.
While it may have looked like the filmmaker was going to dedicate the next few years of his life to the Avatar films, it seems like he's up for taking a detour to a completely different film. The Last Train from Hiroshima is kind of like a pet project for the director, and he believes that the story of the movie is very timely and deserves to be told. Plus, he may just want to ride the success of his second Avatar movie and hope that this film is also going to be successful as a result. He's the only man to have produced 3 films that have made over $2 billion at the global box office, so anything Cameron touches turns to gold. And considering how his films tend to have a lot of interesting messages, he may just be the best director to tackle a project like this. James' keen interest in it is likely linked back to the film's source material. The movie is based on a book of the same name. It was written by Charles R. Pellegrino and tells the real-life story of the people who suffered the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombings.
I don't want to say too much about the film.
Yeah,
'cause
definitely.
I also have a lot of respect for J.J. Abrams, and I want to see where they're taking it next. You know, see what they're doing with it.
It's an incredibly heart-wrenching tale, to say the least. I can see why Cameron may want to dedicate some time to tell a story like this, even if it means putting some of the Avatar movies on the back burner for a second. His dedication to the project even had him personally go and speak with the late Satomu Yamaguchi. He was the only man to survive both the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombings. Cameron feels that now more than ever, it's important to tell his story to the public. While talking to the Los Angeles Times, the filmmaker mentioned that with the war going on in Ukraine, and with resurgent nationalism in the US on the rise, it's important that people are shown the reality of war. He wants to remind people just what these weapons have the potential to do, especially when they're used against human targets, considering how a major theme in the Avatar films is about showcasing the dangers of war and colonialism. I trust James will be able to handle this film with the kind of sensitivity it requires, because the plot of the book is definitely going to be tough to properly translate to the big screen. It's about Yamaguchi, who visited Hiroshima on a business trip on August 6, 1945. This was the time when Enola Gay dropped the little boy atomic bomb on that city. Yamaguchi is located just 2 miles from the hypocenter. After quite a devastating night, he returned by train with a number of other bomb survivors to his town of Nagasaki. And of course, things did not get any better from there. While he was reporting to his superiors just what had happened in Hiroshima, the Fat Man bomb was detonated over the city. The book that the movie is based on serves as a painful memoir of the people that went through those bombings. It's definitely not for the faint of heart, which is why I have my doubts that all of it will be shown in its original state in the form of a feature film. But with James helming the project, there's definitely a good chance that he'll remain loyal to the original book. The movie may also discuss some of the main themes and messages of the book. In his book, Pellegrino documented just how random survival tends to be. For most people in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, their entire existence erupted within a fraction of a second. Others, who were indoors or present within shock cocoons, died from the incoming gamma rays and heat blasts. The book goes into graphic details about the kind of impacts that such blasts have on the human body. Things like severe burns, to people literally turning into ant walkers where they just follow other survivors in a line without any direction or aim. It even describes alligator people whose skin had been charred beyond recognition. The author states that their exterior almost started to look reptilian in a way. See what I mean when I say that this film really isn't going to be easy to digest. That said, despite all these details, the movie may end up straying a bit from the book because it received quite a bit of criticism for fabricating details.
Well, that's what I think is critical here, that the public, first of all, remembered us, and then we attracted a whole new young audience. So we're blessed by that.
People questioned a lot of details about the original book. One publisher even stated that Pellegrino had relied on a fraudulent source. This made a big portion of his book fabricated. This source was Joseph Fuoco, who had claimed to be the replacement flight engineer on the planes that escorted Enola Gay to Hiroshima. The editor of the book also stated how he made sure to question and confirm hundreds of sections from it.
How do we find ourselves in these situations? He said, I'll be at I'll be at the party. We can talk there. I'll be drinking ginger ale. I said, I'm going to be drinking something a lot stronger than ginger ale. Trust me.
Plus, James has to come to the author's defense too. He stated that all he knows is that Charlie would not fabricate, so there must be a reason for any misunderstandings. It's unclear if any of these misunderstandings will be clarified for the film adaptation, but I do think it would be a bit irresponsible to portray a version of the events that are dramatic or fictional, just for the sake of it.
He thinks in cuts. You know, he started off making very, very low budget films. So he didn't shoot big master scenes and he didn't shoot this elaborate action. He'd shoot exactly what he needed.
Of course, there's always some creative liberties taken when adapting any work, but staying true to the source material should be their top priority. And of course, making sure the source material itself is legitimate is also a big concern. Plus, the film will likely cast Japanese actors for the roles. Or at least I hope Hollywood doesn't make the mistake of whitewashing this project, because it would leave a terrible taste in everyone's mouths.
On film.
On film, two-dimensional.
2D on film.
I understand you're, through some magic, going to be able to turn it into 3D.
Right.
So far, there hasn't been any actors confirmed for the cast. That's not too surprising, considering the movie is still very much in the early stages of development right now. I'm not too sure if there's even a finalized script ready yet. We may get more details about which actors are going to be involved in the coming months. But for now, details are pretty scarce and limited. Considering the content the film is going to be about, I'm guessing the casting process will be quite thorough. Cameron will need actors that can really portray the story in a proper and effective way. And while it may be tough to watch, fans are still eager to see it, but there's still quite a bit of time before it appears on the big screen. Cameron mentioned that he wants to work on this project before he releases Avatar 4. The current release date for the fourth Avatar film is December 18, 2026. That means we could be getting James's Hiroshima movie anytime before that. I think the most likely release date would be anywhere between late 2024 to mid 2026.
I mean, I walked into Peter Chernon's office and I said I had a beautiful painting of Titanic in a book. I opened it up and you saw the ship sinking and the lifeboats. You could almost hear the band playing.
And that's only assuming James does actually decide to step away from Avatar and dedicate more time to the project. It's not confirmed yet, which is why there aren't any big details to give away just yet. That said, I do agree with James that a story like this holds a lot of weight, especially with everything going on in the world nowadays. Hopefully Cameron is able to release it sooner than later. It may just help to showcase to the general public that war and nuclear bombs aren't nearly as glorious as some people may make them sound. Behind all of it is rampant destruction and death. And most of all, it leaves suffering that can often be avoided. In any case, that's all the details I have about James Cameron's Hiroshima movie so far. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.